It is currently 5:50 a.m. and I am taking Zuko out for a walk. It's always nice to do this in the morning. It's become part of my morning routine, along with journaling and reading my book and making coffees and things like that. And yeah, I enjoy it. Anyway, the point of today's video is it currently too late, bearing in mind we're coming towards the end of May now, to apply for a teaching job out here in the UAE? Now, there are always jobs available here in the UAE, whether you're a teacher or otherwise. But there is a prime window and we have passed it. He's molting like mad. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can potentially still get yourself a job out here, the kind of schools that might be applying, why they still need people, because like I say, the main window, the hot spot, the hot time for getting a job out here as a teacher has pretty much already passed. We are now in the last 6 or 7 weeks of the year before we then break up for the summer. So yeah, but I am going to break it down in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, look at the chunks of fur that's coming off him. Well, hopefully it's going to cool you down, buddy. I've already removed about 5 of those big chunks using this brush. He's got such thick fur, and a couple of times a year he molts, and this is the time of year. Time to go to work. So I'm just preparing for the start of the day, as I always do in these videos. Printing a few things off, responding to emails, making sure I'm set for the learning for when the children come in the next 30 or so minutes. So, I mentioned earlier on in this video about there being like an optimal window. And for most schools, especially international schools, that optimal window is around sort of December, January, February, March time. That is the time at which most people who are currently in jobs within the UAE have found other positions and are moving on. It is around this time that schools are asking for intentions from their staff so they can get a bit of an idea as to what their recruitment process is going to look like for the following year. So this is the time where you will find the most amount of jobs on places like TEFL, international teaching, Facebook groups, and so on. Now, however, most schools across the UAE have already completed their recruitment process and are now putting people into the correct places within the school and making sure that everyone is starting to get prepared for the following year. Now, does that mean you're too late? No, it doesn't. But it does mean that your options are going to be considerably more limited to what they were 5 or 6 months ago. Now, the reason why there might still be positions available in schools around the UAE is perhaps to do with the recruitment process. I know, for instance, that there have been many schools that have advertised really last minute, even up until the last summer months, because perhaps paperwork hasn't gone through. Perhaps members of their new teaching team haven't got approval from ADEC if they're in Abu Dhabi, or KHDA if they're in Dubai, for whatever reason. Perhaps it's a case that someone's accepted the position and then some circumstances within their life has changed. There are lots of different reasons why jobs come up very last minute. Sometimes they're to do with the school, sometimes they're to do with the applicants that have applied, have been successful, but for whatever reason can't go through with the position and the move. Now, the biggest issue with getting a job at this point in the year, and even between now and the summer or the start of next year, is that most teachers need to leave a full term's notice from their current position in terms of leaving the school. And unless you find yourself in a position where you're maybe already unemployed or you are free and available for work, which you may well be, in which case just keep looking is my suggestion. Keep looking, keep going on to tests and other websites, keep checking Facebook and various other portals for positions, because you may well still be in luck and there may well be positions available still. There are also many great social media groups that are advertising, so type in UAE teaching jobs and you may well find something. But if you're not, then you're just in a bit of a struggle, because you probably need to give your school current notice. If any schools in the UAE are wanting people for an immediate start, then you may not be considered if you have to wait until, let's say, December of next year, because you've got to give a full term's notice. So it could just be a bit challenging. Not impossible, but challenging. So just going back on a point I made a minute ago about why schools may still be looking for staff at this point in the year, considering it is so late. I wouldn't say that it's a reflection on the school per se. It may well be. And if you are concerned that perhaps it's the quality of the school, then I would recommend you doing your research, have a look into reviews, although you've got to take all reviews with a pinch of salt, and really make sure that you think that it might be a good school for you. But in many cases, if a school is asking for teachers at this point, it could just be that the recruitment process didn't go as smoothly, or perhaps teachers that had signed contracts and were happy to come and work for whatever reason were unable to. So it could still be that you find that a fantastic school out here in the UAE is still looking for people through no fault of their own. And if you are really desperate to come and move out here and you're not prepared to wait a full academic year, I would still highly recommend you keep an eye on there's job portals and things like that, because in my experience of working at the school I'm in currently, there are positions that occasionally come up throughout the academic year. You are not tied into an entire year. If you decide that for whatever reason you want to move on from a school, I have known people to leave multiple schools throughout the UAE midway through a year. As long as they give that full term's notice, you are more than capable and able to leave whenever you need to throughout the year. Like I say, you just need to give that notice. So if you're happy starting midway through a year, that's also an option. It's typical. I was just about to go and print a load of things and power went out. So I have just finished up in the gym after work. It's been a pretty long day, but I'm done. It is just past 4 now, and I'm gonna head home in a minute. Now, the final thing I'm gonna say in this video, let me just turn the AC down slightly, is about applying for jobs. Now, in my opinion, the application process is very similar to that of the application process for a job in the UK. Many of the schools, whether they've already been looking for people or whether they're going to put jobs up now, they'll be looking for you to either go in for the job via their website and then you have to fill out various forms, or they want you to send them your CV with a covering letter. The interview process might be a little bit different, because if you're not already in the UAE, then it'll have to be a virtual one, and you will have to explain as part of that process why you obviously want the job, why you want to move abroad, because that's a big thing. Do you have understanding of the cultural context, and so on and so forth. Now, I have done previous videos on this, so go back through the channel and I will try to stick some links down below this video as well. But yeah, the actual process of applying is very similar to anywhere else. But for now, I'm going to turn the AC back up onto full, because it is currently 39.5 degrees. It's probably actually hotter than that, but my car's not reading it right. I'm going to drive home, get some food, and enjoy the rest of my evening. If you have any questions, guys, comment down below. Go over and follow me on the other social platforms, Instagram, and so on. And I will see you in the next video.